Before we begin our journey tonight, a brief note. This episode of Sleepy Psychology is brought to you by the SAC Center, a leading telehealth clinic specializing in the testing and treatment of autism and ADHD. The SAC Center proudly serves all 50 states, bringing expert care directly to you wherever you are. To learn more about their comprehensive services and how they can help, please visit saccenter.com. Welcome, weary traveler, to a space where the edges of your day can soften and the gentle current of understanding can carry you towards rest. Tonight, we embark on a profound journey into the concept of neurodiversity. This idea, relatively new but deeply transformative, invites us to reconsider how we view the human brain, challenging long-held assumptions about what is normal, and embracing the rich tapestry of neurological differences that exist among us. As the evening softly envelopes you, allow this story to unfold, not as a rigid account, but as a calming narrative, a gentle stream flowing towards the quiet stillness of sleep. For centuries, and indeed for much of modern psychology's history, the prevailing view of the human brain has often been through a lens of deficits and disorders. If a person's brain functioned differently from the perceived average, it was typically categorized as a problem, something to be fixed, cured, or minimized. Conditions like autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and Tourette syndrome were primarily understood through a medical model of disability. This model frames disability as an inherent flaw or brokenness within the individual, requiring treatment or normalization to fit into societal expectations. While this approach has certainly led to valuable medical interventions and supports, it often overlooked the unique strengths and perspectives that neurological differences could offer, and sometimes, it fostered stigma and shame. The seeds of the neurodiversity movement began to sprout in the 1990s, nurtured by grassroots advocacy groups, particularly within the autistic community. These individuals, often connecting through early internet forums, found solidarity in their shared experiences of being misunderstood, marginalized, and often pathologized. They drew inspiration from other civil rights movements, such as the disability rights movement, which had already begun to challenge societal barriers and advocate for inclusion. A pivotal moment came in 1993 with a powerful speech titled, "Don't Mourn for Us," delivered by autistic activist Jim Sinclair at an international conference on autism. Sinclair passionately rejected the notion of autism as a tragedy, arguing that it was a fundamental part of his identity. His words called for parents and professionals to accept autistic individuals as they were, rather than mourning for a normal child they didn't have. This unapologetic articulation of neurodivergent experience, independent of external narratives, deeply influenced the burgeoning neurodiversity movement. The term neurodiversity itself is widely attributed to Judy, an Australian sociologist and disability rights activist who coined it in 1997. Singer, who identifies as autistic, sought to shift the conversation away from pathology and deficits, towards a more inclusive view of neurological differences as simply exciting variations along the human spectrum. She proposed the idea of cerebral pluralism, the understanding that each brain is different, and some are simply more different than others. So, what exactly does neurodiversity mean? At its core, neurodiversity is the concept that human brains are naturally diverse. Just as there is diversity in ethnicity, gender, or sexual orientation, there is also natural, healthy variation in how human brains are wired, how they process information, and how they function. It's an umbrella term that recognizes the wide spectrum of neurocognitive differences within the human population. When we speak of neurotypical, we are referring to the majority of the population whose brains function in ways that are generally considered the societal norm. These individuals typically process information, learn, and behave in ways that align with prevailing social expectations. In contrast, neurodivergent describes individuals whose brains process, learn, and/or behave differently from what is considered typical. This is not seen as a deficit to be cured, but as a natural variation. Common examples of neurodivergence include autism spectrum disorder, characterized by differences in social communication, sensory processing, repetitive behaviors, and intense focused interests. The term spectrum emphasizes the wide range of presentations and support needs. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder involves differences in attention regulation, impulsivity, and sometimes hyperactivity. This can manifest as challenges with focus, organization, emotional regulation, and restlessness. Dyslexia, a common learning difference that primarily affects reading, writing, and spelling, despite normal intelligence. Dyspraxia affects physical coordination, motor skills, and sometimes organization and planning. Dyscalculia, a learning difficulty that makes it hard to understand numbers and mathematical concepts. Tourette syndrome, a neurological condition characterized by involuntary movements and vocalizations called tics. It's important to understand that these conditions often co-occur, and many symptoms can overlap, highlighting the complexity and interconnectedness of neurodivergence. The philosophy of the neurodiversity movement draws heavily on the social model of disability, which stands in contrast to the traditional medical model. The medical model views disability as a problem residing within the individual. The social model, however, posits that disability is largely created by societal barriers and attitudes that fail to accommodate diverse ways of being. For instance, a person who uses a wheelchair isn't inherently disabled by their wheelchair. They are disabled by a building that lacks ramps. Similarly, a neurodivergent person may not be inherently disordered, but they can be disabled by a world primarily designed for neurotypical brains, with inflexible social norms, communication styles, and work environments. The neurodiversity movement advocates for society to adapt to the needs of neurodivergent individuals, rather than solely expecting neurodivergent individuals to conform to neurotypical norms. The impact of the neurodiversity movement on modern psychology and society has been truly profound. Firstly, it has challenged the pathology paradigm. Instead of framing neurological differences solely as something to be cured or fixed, the movement advocates for understanding, acceptance, and support. This shift in perspective validates the lived experiences of neurodivergent people, reducing stigma and fostering a sense of positive identity. For a long time, research funding for conditions like autism heavily favored studies focused on finding cures or preventing autism, with very little allocation for social services or support for autistic individuals living in the world. The neurodiversity movement has pushed for a re-evaluation of these priorities, advocating for research that improves the quality of life for neurodivergent people as they are, rather than striving for normalization. Secondly, it has amplified the voices of neurodivergent individuals themselves. Historically, discussions about neurodivergence were dominated by parents, researchers, and medical professionals. The neurodiversity movement insists that nothing about us without us. Neurodivergent people are increasingly at the forefront of research, policy making, and public discourse, sharing their perspectives, advocating for their rights, and designing solutions that genuinely meet their needs. This has led to a richer, more authentic understanding of what it means to be neurodivergent. Thirdly, it has fostered a strengths-based approach. While acknowledging the challenges that neurodivergence can bring, the movement also highlights the unique strengths and talents often associated with neurodivergent ways of thinking. For example, autistic individuals may exhibit exceptional attention to detail, strong logical reasoning, unique problem-solving abilities, and deep focus on special interests, often leading to expertise in specific areas. People with ADHD may demonstrate remarkable creativity, an ability to hyper-focus on tasks they are passionate about, and a capacity for innovative, out-of-the-box thinking. Dyslexic individuals often show strengths in areas like spatial reasoning, holistic thinking, and pattern recognition, making them adept at entrepreneurial endeavors or creative fields. This strengths-focused perspective has significant implications for education, employment, and social inclusion, encouraging us to design environments that leverage these diverse talents. Companies that embrace neurodiversity are reporting increased innovation and productivity. How does understanding neurodiversity impact you today as an individual? And how can its teachings help us navigate our lives with greater compassion and effectiveness? The concept of neurodiversity encourages radical acceptance of neurological differences, both in ourselves and in others. We all exist on a vast spectrum of human experience. Just as we accept variations in height or hair color, neurodiversity invites us to accept variations in brain wiring. This can reduce self-judgment if you identify as neurodivergent. Imagine for a moment a young person, let's call them Alex, who struggled immensely in school. Alex would often get lost in thought during lessons, find it incredibly difficult to sit still, and often blurted out answers or interrupted others. Alex was frequently disciplined, told they needed to try harder, and felt a deep sense of shame and inadequacy, believing there was something inherently wrong with them. Years later, Alex received an ADHD diagnosis. This wasn't a curse, it was a lens through which to understand their experiences. The concept of neurodiversity helped Alex to understand that their brain wasn't broken, it just worked differently. Their distractibility could also be seen as an ability to notice many things at once, and their impulsivity sometimes translated into remarkable spontaneity and quick thinking in other contexts. This understanding was profoundly liberating for Alex, allowing them to forgive their past self and begin to advocate for environments that would support their neurotype, rather than constantly trying to force themselves into a neurotypical mold. Neurodiversity also teaches us the importance of accommodations and flexible environments. Our world, from school classrooms to workplaces, is largely designed to suit neurotypical ways of processing information and interacting. Understanding neurodiversity means recognizing that small adjustments can make a huge difference for neurodivergent individuals to thrive. For instance, for someone with sensory sensitivities related to autism, a quiet workspace with dimmable lighting might be essential. For a dyslexic employee, providing written instructions in a different font or offering text-to-speech software could unlock their full potential. For an individual with ADHD, flexible work hours or strategies for managing distractions might be key to their success. This insight helps us advocate for ourselves or for others to create more inclusive spaces where diverse brains can flourish. It moves us beyond a one-size-fits-all mentality. Furthermore, embracing neurodiversity fosters greater empathy and reduces stigma. When we understand that someone's behavior, which might seem odd or challenging from a neurotypical perspective, is actually a manifestation of their neurological wiring, our response can shift from judgment to understanding. For example, if someone with Tourette's has involuntary tics, Understanding neurodiversity helps us recognize that this is not intentional or rude, but a neurological difference. If an autistic person struggles with eye contact or prefers direct communication, rather than interpreting it as a lack of engagement or rudeness, we can understand it as a difference in social communication style. This fosters compassion and allows for more effective and respectful interactions. It helps us challenge our own internalized biases and assumptions about normal behavior. The neurodiversity movement encourages us to celebrate diversity as a strength. In many historical narratives, neurological differences were framed as weaknesses or burdens. The neurodiversity paradigm flips this, emphasizing that variation itself is valuable. Just as biodiversity strengthens ecosystems, neurodiversity enriches human society. Diverse ways of thinking, problem-solving, and perceiving the world can lead to innovation, creativity, and new perspectives that are essential for addressing complex global challenges. For instance, the detailed, systematic thinking often found in autistic individuals is invaluable in fields like software development or scientific research. The entrepreneurial spirit and creative problem-solving frequently seen in ADHD individuals can drive innovation. Understanding this empowers us to appreciate our own unique cognitive styles and those of others, recognizing that our differences are often our greatest strengths. So, as we draw this gentle exploration to a close, what can we learn from the neurodiversity paradigm that can guide our own interactions and understanding of the world around us? Firstly, practice curiosity and open-mindedness about how others experience the world. Recognize that your way of thinking, learning, or socializing is not the only right way. Be open to the possibility that others may perceive and interact with reality in fundamentally different, yet equally valid ways. Secondly, challenge your own assumptions about normalcy. Every brain is unique. Resist the urge to pathologize differences and instead seek to understand the underlying neurology and experience. This extends to how you view your own quirks or challenges. Perhaps they are not flaws, but simply aspects of your unique neurotype. Thirdly, cultivate empathy and seek to understand. When someone behaves in a way that seems confusing or challenging, consider that it might be rooted in a neurological difference. Instead of judgment, approach with curiosity and a desire to understand their experience from their perspective. Ask what might help them rather than assuming they need to change. Fourthly, advocate for inclusion and accommodation. Whether in your family, workplace, or community, think about how environments can be made more flexible and accommodating for diverse neurological needs. Simple adjustments can unlock immense potential and create a more equitable world for everyone. Finally, celebrate neurodiversity as a human strength. Embrace the rich tapestry of human brains. Recognize that diverse minds contribute diverse talents and perspectives that are essential for a thriving, innovative, and compassionate society. Your unique way of thinking and being is a valuable part of this beautiful human mosaic. Now, as these thoughts gently settle within you, allow yourself to sink even deeper into the stillness of the present moment. Feel the comforting weight of your body, supported and held. The air around you is calm, peaceful. Imagine yourself now in a serene, open field, bathed in the soft glow of twilight. The air is cool and fresh, carrying the faint scent of distant blossoms. Above you, the sky deepens into shades of indigo and lavender, and the first few stars begin to twinkle, each a tiny beacon of peace. You are lying comfortably on a soft blanket spread across the gentle grass. Feel the earth beneath you solid and supportive. Let your shoulders melt into the ground, releasing any tension you might be holding there. Your arms are resting gently by your sides, palms facing upwards, open to receive the quiet calm of the evening. Your legs are long and relaxed, your feet falling naturally to the sides. Feel the gentle weight of your calves and thighs pressing against the blanket, surrendering fully to gravity. Notice your breath, the gentle rhythm of it flowing in and out. There's no need to change anything, just observe. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and the warm air gently leaving your body. With each exhale, imagine any lingering worries or tensions dissolving, drifting away like wisps of smoke into the vast, calming sky. Now bring your awareness to your forehead. Imagine it smoothing, releasing any furrow or crease. Let your eyelids feel heavy and soft, gently closed. Your jaw is relaxed, your teeth slightly parted, your tongue resting softly in your mouth. Feel a wave of peaceful relaxation moving slowly through your entire body, starting from the top of your head, flowing down over your face, through your neck and shoulders, down your arms to your fingertips. This wave of calm continues its journey, flowing through your chest and abdomen, softening all your internal organs. It moves down through your hips, your thighs, your calves, and finally reaches your feet and toes. Every part of you is now bathed in this gentle, soothing calm. You are completely supported, completely safe. There is nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be. Just rest in this tranquil space, breathing gently, allowing the wisdom of tonight's story to settle deep within you. The stars above you begin to multiply, each one a tiny spark of understanding, illuminating the path to greater acceptance, empathy, and appreciation for the beautiful diversity of the human mind. You are unique, valuable, and part of this rich tapestry. Rest now in this quiet understanding. Sleep deeply, peacefully, knowing that you carry within you the capacity for compassion, for acceptance, and for building a more inclusive world, one breath, one gentle thought at a time. Good night. This episode of Sleepy Psychology was brought to you by the SAC Center, a leading telehealth clinic dedicated to the testing and treatment of autism and ADHD. The SAC Center is committed to providing expert, compassionate care across all 50 states, bringing specialized support directly to you, wherever you are. To explore their comprehensive services and learn how they can help, please visit saccenter.com. May your dreams be serene and your rest be deep. Good night.